Good morning and welcome to Letna Park in Prague, and this is easily one of the best viewpoints in the whole city. I'm back in Prague, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a little series that I'm giving the working title of Undiscovered Prague. And this is Letna Park, and I'm always surprised that there's not more tourists about here than the centre of Prague, Stará Městská, where it's absolutely humming, and it'll be absolutely humming today. It's the end of September, the start of October, and it's 20 degrees. We have an Indian summer, and it's absolutely amazing. But there's quite a bit of history to Letna Park, and so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start with Stalin. This is the Letna Park metronome, and it was built in 1991, but it replaced what had been a statue of Stalin, the largest in the world. It was 50 metres high, 13,000 tonnes, and it was absolutely massive. Stalin itself was apparently like 2 metres wide. The statue of Stalin was unveiled in 1955, and then suddenly Stalin died. And everybody sort of had a discussion, and they were like, actually never really liked him. And so 7 years later, in 1962, with Nikita Khrushchev as leader in Russia, they blew the statue up. And it took almost 1,000 kilograms of explosives to do it. And apparently the head rolled down the hill into the Vltava at the bottom. But there's some dark stories associated with the curse of Stalin. The man who designed the monument of Stalin, Otakar Shvets, killed himself the day before it was unveiled. Then the man who had posed for Stalin, whose name isn't recorded anywhere, but he was given the nickname Stalin, and he couldn't shake it. So he took to drink, and within 3 years he was dead. And then the man whose job it was to take all the rubble to the dump after the monument was destroyed died in an accident within a year. The question is, was it the STB, the Czech equivalent of the KGB or the Stasi? Was it all just a horrible accident, or was it something else? The metronome was built in 1991 by Vratislav Novak after the fall of communism, and it's sort of there just to remind Praguers of what happened, of the fact that time passes. It's semi-functional in that it needs to be driven by a motor, but it's only 23 metres high, only half the height of the Stalin monument. As you can see as well, the area around the metronome is really good for skateboarding. It's one of the best skate parks in Prague. And there, underneath the metronome, there's a fantastic little pub if you just want to sit, watch Prague, and have a lovely Czech beer. Other than the monuments and the skateboarders and the views, Letna Park is also quite important, because this is where Vaclav Havel rallied hundreds of thousands of people in the weeks up to the fall of communism. And they shook their keys and demanded that the Czechoslovakian government open the doors to them. They wanted to be free, they wanted to be let out. So there's a plane just over here, hundreds of thousands of people. Also, it's where Michael Jackson launched his history tour all the way back in 1995 or 1996. They don't play conkers here, but they really should. Behind these hoardings stands the oldest carousel in Europe, but it's broken, it doesn't work anymore. It was built in 1892 in another part of Prague, further down in the city, Vinohrady I think, and then it was moved up here. But it hasn't worked in a long time, and they tried to fix it in the middle of the 90s, but they ran out of money. I think they managed to get the roof repaired or something like that, but they couldn't get it moving. And so now they're trying to raise money again to make it work. So hopefully in the next couple of years, the oldest carousel in Europe will be working again. And it is really very, very pretty. It's a beautiful old building. This was the site of the Czechoslovakian Expo in 1958, and considering that we've just come back from an expo, I thought I would show it to you. It's quite a good example of Czech modernist buildings, and it's really rather pretty, I quite like it. But it's very small compared to Kazakhstan. And there are even more views from the top of Letna Hill here, like you can just see the Vltava in all its glory. Finally, we have the Hanafi Pavillion immediately behind me, and it was built in 1891 for the Jubilee Expo in Prague. It was the first cast iron structure, and it's a lovely Art Nouveau building. And it probably has some of the best views for any restaurant in the whole of Prague, just looking out all over Staromiecka and the old town. And it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? So, that is me for today. Hit like if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe if you want to see more, and do leave us a wee comment down below. Next time, I'm not sure where I'll be, but it'll be somewhere in Prague, I'm sure. And I'll see you soon. Bye!